And it's been the ambition of every totalitarian system throughout the history of mankind to control every aspect of human behavior. They've never been able to do it because they don't have the technology. But today, that technology now exists. We have facial recognition system that's watching us all the time. We have digital currency that allows the government now and increasingly to understand every purchase that you make. We have GPS that's following us and knows where we are all day in our cars, in our watches, in our devices. We have Alexa and we have, Siri, and are listening to everything you say, every conversation you have, and recording it with the NSA, harvesting your data. These big corporations, Bill Gates has this now data center that is harvesting all this data and then monetizing it. Siri is not working for you. Alexa is not working for you. They're working for Bill Gates and the NSA. And when a government, so it's more important than ever that we have a deep commitment to our constitutional rights in this country, because the capacity of the government to enslave us is like nothing before. They have technology that can look through walls. You can't hide in your house anymore. You can't hide anywhere. There's approval now for 415,000 low-altitude satellites that will be able to look at every square inch of our Earth 24 hours a day. And this is the time we need to be raising the barrier of our constitutional rights.
Report, like the JP Morgan iPhone survey that we've been talking a lot about on our air today. Hit the create button and then, well, here's the output. Take a listen.
All right, so get this. We're diving deep into iPhone territory today, but not just any iPhone chit-chat.
Right.
We're talking about why people are really shelling out for those new Apple phones. Luckily, we've got some clues to work with. We've got this juicy JP Morgan survey.
Yeah.
Over 500 people.
Oh.
Gave their insights on smartphones.
You would hear on CNBC. But those were two AI-generated podcast hosts sounding pretty convincing, right down to the ahas and the banter. Students, they're using this tool to make their textbooks into podcasts. Lawyers can upload legal briefs. Scientists can upload lab notes and research papers and get these really succinct, pretty good summaries. And judging by the reaction among us,
On this day, October 2nd, 1971, the U.S. experienced its first nationwide dock worker strike when longshoremen on the East and Gulf Coast ports joined their West Coast brethren who had walked off the jobs just months earlier in July. 56 ports along the U.S. and Canadian western coasts and at least 24 others on the Eastern Gulf. The unions, on one hand, they were seeking better pay, but more critically, they were seeking to address declining membership and morale as increasing automation decreased the need for human labor. Sound familiar? By October 4th, the President of the United States, Richard Nixon, stepped in, invoking the Taft-Hartley Act to protect what he called the health and safety of the U.S. economy. Eventually, the strike was settled, with the longshoremen getting only about half of the pay increase they sought and none of the explicit protections that they had sought against automation. And that brings us to where we are today, where East Coast workers have decided to shut it all down once again, facing off not so much with the dock owners, but with the technology that threatens once again to further dwindle their numbers.
The interesting thing that other people haven't really thought about is that container shipping, while everyone on the dock worker side is complaining that they're very, very profitable, isn't as profitable as people might think. But they benefited from the Red Sea being 40% capacity than it was before because of safety issues in the Houthis, and that's added 8% on drought earlier in the season, so they had a pretty good year. And if you cause disruption on the U.S. East Coast, ships have to go somewhere, and they're going to go somewhere, and it's going to cause disruption and congestion, and freight rates will go higher. So they can sit for a little bit on this, as well as not allowing any automation is foolish, in my opinion, and we're the least efficient ports in the world, and the container shipping companies can sit and hold on that.
So when we look at a whole bunch of U.S. office real estate, there are problems galore. We must have looked at 100 deals over the course of the last 6-9 months. We've made one investment so far. It's somewhat protected. It's somewhat sheltered. So when you look at office property, it's really hard to underwrite.
It's too troubled.
It's too troubled.
Yeah, okay.
Right? You've got in office in the US, there's almost a tsunami coming through. You don't see it in the headlines quite as much, but underneath those debt maturities we were talking about, they are causing a tsunami.
And that's not enough to provide this cathartic moment.
It's small. Yeah.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok 5 new videos. And we know how crazy the world is getting. Make sure you go to the TikTok, like, follow, share them everywhere. And we have Google AI automated podcasts. And they sound just like humans, but guys, we know it's going to keep getting better and better. They have AI Podcast 2000 in the back of the curtain. The only thing they're doing is bringing it in phases, so therefore they don't scare the people. And on October 2nd, 1971, the dock workers went on strike and again fighting automation. And when you look at manufacturing, the rise of the machines have been in that area. But of course, manufacturing is not big in the United States. So we're not seeing all the technology. Now we're getting to see all the technology. Plus, you get to see how long the NWO has been working towards the agenda. And remember, guys, this is all biblical. Never forget the Most High gives you work. The devil gives you a job. And remember, technology can be used for good or evil. You can easily go online right now and see how tribes are living today worry-free, stress-free. And the whole time you were looking at them like something was wrong with them. And that's the reason why the NWO wants to bank the unbanked, because they want to enslave the unslaved. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have the port strike ending on the 3rd day. They're going back to work based on wage increases. And guys, I was part of a union, worked a 6-figure job. The fact is, I guarantee you they're not getting job security, and that's the whole point of the union. These unions are not like they used to be. And we have CNBC guests is playing the Hegelian dialectic. Not going to automation sounds crazy. But we know the NWO caused the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. And because all these people are going to be out of work, they're going to be giving you universal basic income. They're going to airdrop that free money, and people are going to be so excited. But little do the people know, that money is going to be programmable, telling you what, when, and how to buy. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it, or poof, it's gone. And we're back in Babylon. Free bread, free circus. But then they're going to enter into the metaverse, and if you can be downloaded, you can be deleted. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have jobs numbers coming out tomorrow. And of course, this is important for the Fed. And then on top of it, we have the strikes. The drums are beating. And like I told you, we would have an event, a crisis that is going to allow them to cut rates while we still have inflation. And those trillions of dollars that's sitting in money market accounts are going to start flowing into the emerging markets. We're seeing in the United States our small businesses are crumbling. Real estate, commercial real estate has been crumbled. The Fed has just been holding it up. Small and medium-sized banks have been crumbling. And like I said, we're going to have mass layoffs. So you're seeing the fall of America to Babylon, along with the United States world reserve currency, and the rise of the BRICS nations led by China and that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
In front of tomorrow's big jobs report, and in the rearview mirror ADP, it certainly looks like the game is going to be about yields to the upside. We've gone from a 2-year low yield close in 2s to now a 4-week high should we close where we're currently trading right around 365. And if you look at 10s, they're hovering around 380. That's up a couple on the session.
And is right now.
Well, Lindsay?
Yeah, look, I mean, all recessions start with a slowdown, but not all slowdowns are going to lead to a recession.
Sure.
And so I think the key is we need to hold Powell to the promise that we can get to that 2% target without deterioration in the labor market.
Except and to me, that's not what he promised. What he also said last week was, look, we're going to be reliant on data. We're still going to look at things. We may or may not have additional cuts. We are in a position where we can ramp things up if it looks like things are deteriorating. We're in a position where we could do nothing if it looks like things are better.
Well, no, that's exactly right. So if the numbers tick up tomorrow, if we get to 4.3% and it's for sort of worrying reasons, right, like employment is falling off, then I think he should consider 50 basis points in November.
I would argue that while the labor market is certainly the more important of the two mandates at this point, and the Fed has signaled that, there are things happening right now that make you wonder if inflation is really going to stay tamped down. And the first would be the dock workers strike. Could be incredibly inflationary. The second would be what's happening in the Middle East. And the third would be the rebuilding that's going to have to take place in this country because of what just happened with the damage with Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, but let's also remember that the interest rate tool is not going to be a great fix for some of the problems you just outlined.
Right, but that could very well raise inflation, and it could keep them from cutting rates further.
It could. It certainly is on the other side of the balance sheet here. But my own view is if we start to see worrying numbers tomorrow on the labor market side, 50 basis points should be on the table in November. Look, when inflation was rising, they didn't hesitate to do consecutive 75 basis point hikes. I think we want to see that same approach of vigor and concern on the labor market side.
The claims numbers are low, Becky, because the recipiency rate is about 10% below its historical average. In other words, people are not taking up jobless claims for a variety of reasons. It could be the fact that their benefits have expired from previous usage. It could be the fact that if you have severance, you can't file. So I don't think claims are a very good proxy. Consumers' assessment of the labor market is terrible. You saw the labor differential in the Conference Board suggests that the unemployment rate will continue to rise. That, to me, is the most important part of tomorrow's report, and we expect the rate to go up.
Well, I would think that Powell is watching that pretty closely, too. I mean, ADP was better than expected,
yes.
But they're cutting for a reason.
They're cutting for a reason.
Said, why are you cutting 50 basis points if everything's
so they're cutting? Well, that's exactly right. They're cutting for two reasons. One is that they, meaning the Fed, thinks that the funds rate is way above neutral, or where it should be in an even state. That's one factor. The other factor is if you look at the 3-month rate of change, or 3-month moving average on headline or private X healthcare, whatever metric you want, it's clear the labor market is downshifting. And they want to get ahead of it by cutting rates so as to stabilize things. Ultimately, I don't think they'll be successful, but I understand their logic.
Why don't you think they'll be successful?
Because the history of soft landings isn't very good. And we've got a housing market, a residential housing market that's totally frozen, and yet we continue to make cyclical highs in residential employment. Now, that may get a boost from the rebuilding of the Southeast corridor, but fundamentally, we're upwards of a million workers that probably don't need to be there given where demand is right now.
Well, Lindsay?
Yeah, look, I mean,
going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China. But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction
of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Yashu and Grandma Tate save New York. From COVID 33, Part 3. King Yashua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.